Three Legends show right over the northeast. We did it for about 14 years. I was alongside Mark McDonald and Eric Gates, and then it was Mark McDonald and Mickey Hospital, former Sunderland FA Cup winner. And we did that for, as I say, plenty, over 14 years. But you can join me every Thursday. I mean, I do Middlesbrough games every Saturday, and I do a podcast on a Monday. But I do every Middlesbrough game every Saturday, talk about the Borough. But on a Thursday, I'm going to dedicate it to the North East and talk about North East football. I'm intrigued by North East football. I live here in the North East. I've been here 37 years. I'm intrigued watching Newcastle and Match of the Day, and Sunderland's going to watch the Derby game this Sunday. I have been invited, but I've turned it down because I think I'll still have my jammies on at 12 o'clock kickoff. But I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, Newcastle, they travel to Crystal Palace, and Saturday, Sunday is a 12 o'clock kickoff for Sunderland v Middlesbrough. And then you've got Hartlepool, they face Rochdale, and Darlington travel to, is it Banbury? Banbury? I think it's Banbury United. So that's your teams, the local teams, the North East teams. That's them that's all playing Saturday and Sunday. But I looked at Man United last night. I mean, obviously Newcastle go to Palace and Selhurst Park on Saturday. I watched Man United last night. It was a very good game. I enjoyed the game. Man United looked as if they were going to win their 10th consecutive game, which was some doing. And it looked 90 minutes in the clock. It looked as if they were home and dry. And then unbelievable free kick flew past De Gea, who was fantastic on the night. Didn't have a hope and health chance, and they only get a point. So they'll be disappointed. But looking at Newcastle going there on Saturday, Newcastle fans, do you fancy your chances going down there? I mean, I think I've had a bit of a rough patch recently, but a point against Man United is no mean feat, especially with the way they're playing. So can Newcastle fans, can you go down there and take all 3 points? Who will come out and top in Sunday's derby game? And Sunderland fans, do you class it as a derby? I always hear some Sunderland fans saying over the years, it's not a derby against Middlesbrough, your derby's against Leeds. What a load of old codswallop. It's North Yorkshire, isn't it? Surely it's classed as a derby. And has derby games lost a bit of its appeal? Has it lost a bit of the glitter like the FA Cup? Has it been tarnished over the years? Why? The foreign influx, people don't understand the derby situation, if you like. I mean, I know about derbies. I'm from Glasgow, Celtic Rangers, brought up in that. So I know the passion involved. But who will come out and top on Saturday? I mean, Michael Carrick, he's did fantastically well since he went to the hot seat alongside Jonathan Woodgate. Did very, very well. My old mate Tony Mowbray, my ex-teammate, my former team captain for that 86 glorious period. He's obviously the manager at Sunderland. So, and looking at it, Sunderland's only 4 points behind Middlesbrough. So it's a big game for both teams. I mean, obviously we're in the top 6 and Sunderland's outside that, but there's only a 4 point gap. So it's going to be intriguing. If I was a Sunderland fan, who would I be worried about? The Middlesbrough team. There's 2 jumps out at me. Akpom and Giles. They would be the 2 that I would fear most if I'm a Sunderland fan. And yet I was talking to Mickey Hospital, former FA Cup winner. I was on the phone to him today. Jimmy Montgomery, the goalkeeper when won the FA Cup, who played with Mickey, he invited myself and Big Pallister, Gary Pallister, my mate, to go to the game Sunday. But Pally's the night out on the drink on the Saturday, stag do, and I'll be drinking my own brew and eating curries on Saturday. So a bit early. Thanks for the invite to Jimmy, but yeah, I'll be watching it on the telly. Looking forward to the derby. David Beige Senior says looking forward to the derby. Leslie Coates says Sunderland won, Borough won, and Leslie likes a flutter. And by the way, I've just watched the game there. If you watch the game, I know we're talking about North East, but we're talking football in general. I've just watched the game there. Man City Spurs, incredible. It was a great game. I mean, the manager Pep, he's went through the side. He's a lot of first team regulars on the bench out the side. They're 2-0 down at half time. The boos are ringing round the Etihad. I mean, I thought that was a bit harsh considering they're still a great footballing team and sitting pretty and still in all the competition. Anyway, booed off at half time. People are expecting changes. Pep sticks to it. Patience and confidence. and they come out and they annihilated Tottenham second half. Ends up 4-2. If you've not watched it, you need to watch it and catch it or whatever it is. But brilliant. But yeah, talking to Mickey Hospital today, talking about the derby game on Sunday. Mickey was saying that our defenders, left and right, Giles and Smith, who Mickey's watched the last few weeks, and says they're flawed defensively, and I'd agree with that. But he reckons that they're wide men. I know they play with 3, but it goes to a 5 and they become wide men. They'll torture our fullbacks if they get the service. That's what a former Sunderland player who studies Sunderland, I studied Borough. So he's saying we're flawed fullback, Smith on the right, Giles on the left. Good at going forward, especially Giles. He's my biggest, most creative player, and he will cause problems at Sunderland, but defensively they might cause us problems. So where do you stand in that? And Newcastle, as I mentioned, can you go and beat Crystal Palace? But looking at Hartlepool, can Hartlepool get out that bottom 3? I mean, I've got enough games to get out the bottom 3, but can they do it? I mean, they faced Rochdale on Saturday. They've been huffing and puffing. They're forever changing managers. Is it time for Raj Singh? I mean, I know Raj personally. I don't know him business-wise. I'm sure all businessmen will be... Well, he is ruthless. I'm sure he is. But I'm a fan of it. I know he's a good guy. I know he's a charitable guy. But obviously, I don't know the Raj that's in the business or football. But I know that he's ruthless when it comes to sacking managers or coaches or whatever you want to call them. So, you need a bit of stability. For me, Hartlepool to succeed need a bit of stability rather than chop and change all the time. And Darlington, you're sitting still, what is it, 3rd in the league, but I think the teams above you, the 2 teams above you, got something like 3 games in hand, something like that. So what do you think? I just want to mention Gary Parkinson. You don't have to be a Borough fan to listen to this. You're a human being. I've been putting on social network this week. So, as I say, you don't have to be a Borough fan to attend it. It's a charity event. I've written it down so I don't forget because I think it's vital. I can ad-lib myself about my own things and about football, but when it comes to charity events, I want to get it right. So, Gary Pattinson's a lad I played with in the 86 team for Middlesbrough. He played between 86 and 93. So, he played in every level, including the Premier League for Middlesbrough. He's for Thornaby, which is local. In 2010... he had a bad do and he's got what you call locked-in syndrome, which means he can't communicate, he's paralysed, and the only way of communication is via his eyes. So he needs 24-hour care. This is what it is. He needs 24-hour care, and we are going to turn up the 86 squad that he was part of, that I was part of. We've had a few charity events over the years, raised a lot of money for the lad, but he still needs our help, even more so now after 2 years of pandemic, 3 years, none of us have really seen him. We used to go down now and again to see party, but can you imagine sitting there for 2 or 3 years, pandemic, and you know everything going on, and thinking if they forgot about us, we've not forgot about Party. Party, as I say, great lad, part of the Class 86 squad. So on the night, it's going to be at Town Hall, 24th of March. If you look at my social network, like Facebook, Twitter, whatever, I'm putting stuff out every day. But Bruce Raiff's going to be there, the manager. He went on to the Arsenal. He's the guy that signed Dennis Bergkamp. He was the guy that really resurrected the club in that era when we were struggling financially. He's going to be there. Tony Mowbray, who's now the Sunderland manager, but was that captain of Middlesbrough back in the 86 team. And then Steve Gibson, Chairman Steve Gibson. I mean, I've been in touch with all the guys, waiting on replies. Those big 3 have replied yesterday, today. So it's out there. And then on the night, Pears, Cooper, Pallister, Mowbray, Parky himself is going to be there, accompanied by his family. Even if Bernard, anything doing YouTube, I missed that. I'll come back to that in a minute. Just let me read the party thing. Ripley, Hamilton, Stevens, Turnbull, Kerr, Proudlock, Gill, myself. We all promise to be there. Try our damnedest, make sure we're there. It's going to be a nostalgic and emotional night. Gary Phillipson for the BBC, he's going to be hosting it. Somebody's saying that £100 to £500 tables we're talking. Gary Phillipson, BBC, he does the BBC. He's hosting the night. He'll be the compere. Chris McGlade, Redcast finest, comedian, in the game 35 years, very funny, witty, cutting. He's everything rolled in one. He'll be the comedian, and Alistair Griffin will sing a song or two about the Borough. Have a good night, mate, if it does that. Is it does it? Yeah. Yeah, so I'll just details, then we're on to football. So meet and greet table of 10 is £500. That's in sale now. If you click on email Bernie35years YRS at gmail.com, you can meet and greet table is £500, table of 10. And if you want to book balcony seats, £30 per seat or £50 meet and greet. They'll go on sale tomorrow from the town hall, so look out for that. Yeah, so there it is. So, football. So, let's hope we have a great night. I'm sure it will sell out. The town hall holds about 800 odd people. And it's for a great cause. We know all charities are great causes. We all try and do a bit. Parky's close to my heart because I played with him for a number of years. Great lad. Big family man. Best living lad and nicest lad you'll ever meet. And I said it before, on Saturday, if you're a religious man or woman in any way, shape or form, please say your prayers for Parky. I'll go back over here because there's a couple here. What's your prediction for Sunday, Bernie? Nerves are kicking in. John Lewin. John, I'm really looking forward to it. I love derby games. If the players can't get wound up for a derby game, they'll never be wound up. This is when Middlesbrough players run out in front of 40-odd thousand screaming Mackhams, they'll know all about it, the atmosphere, and how well the Sunderland fans get behind their side. It'll be a cauldron of noise and hostility. It'll be, but hey, come on, that's why you want to become a professional footballer. You want to play in front of big crowds. You want to go out and test yourself in front of big crowds and show them how good you are. So I think our players will thrive on it. Sunderland fans are used to it, but Sunderland have to get back in track after last week. Last week, they lost 3-1 against Swansea. The players sent off, one of the star men sent off, so they cannot afford to get into any. They can't afford to get any sending-offs, and they have to keep their cool and their calm, and they have to try and please the home support. Up the Borough, God bless Parky. Sunderland 2-2. That's the Borough fan, Borough boy Bob. So my prediction, no sitting in the fence, I think it'll be a draw. I mean, don't get me wrong, Ross Stewart, 10 goals. He's back from injury. He scored 10 in about 12, 13 games or whatever it is. So he's a proven goal scorer. A lot of talk to be on the move, but he's still got X amount of months on his contract. But we've obviously Akpom, who I still believe he's number one striker in the Championship. So two good strikers. Obviously, Sunderland lost Sims. Is it Sims? Went to Everton. 7 goals to his credit. Bought Everton. He was on a loan. When they downsized a bit loan, he went back. Anane's the lad. Is it Anane? Is that how you pronounce his name? Is it Liam? Look. He's the guy that's suspended, so he'll be a big loss because I heard he was good. And Keith Curl at Hartlepool, talking about Hartlepool. Keith Curl, can he see the season out as manager at Hartlepool? Horrible job, isn't it? It really is. But as I say, as a Borough fan, I'm confident going to Same Light we won't get beaten. I'm not saying we're going to go and win, but I'm confident we won't get beaten. As I say, there's 4 points here gap. Borough's 4 points above Sunderland. Parky's sister, I know well, lives the next street to me in Ingleby. Yeah, I'd say, Parky, I always hear him talking about Parky. Bernie, why doesn't Borough name the Riverside stands after famous ex-players such as yourself, rather than Dull West Stand, etc.? That's for David Jackson. Don't know where that came from, David, but why doesn't Borough name the Riverside stands rather than after names of players like myself, rather than Dull West End? Or West End, rather, no West End. Up the Borough, God bless Parky, Sunderland 2-2, Borough boy. That's another one that I missed. Evening, Bernie, anything doing on YouTube idea? So this is for Borough fan. Evening, Bernie, anything doing on the YouTube idea? Best wishes to Parky and his family up the effing Borough. Yeah, so come on. I'm trying to entice Sunderland fans. I'm not out to wind yous up or have a go at yous. I'm just talk a bit of sense and try and be realistic and pray. I mean, Newcastle. Who would have thought Newcastle would be in this position in the top 6 in the Premier League, the top flight, putting in 5-star performances? You know, some quality players. Well, a lot of quality players. A group of people who came from abroad heavily investing And we all know it's inevitable that Newcastle's going to have a trophy cabinet and have trophies in it. Can you believe that? All the years without a trophy, they're not going to get a cabinet. I says I wouldn't wind you up. I'm sorry. Newcastle fans, come on, tell us how good you are. What's turned it round? Do you deep down miss Mike Ashley? I miss Big Mike. I thought he was good for you. Remember he first came in, the first thing he did was change the name. I was doing the Legend show at the time with Martin and Gatesy. He came in and just changed the name to, was it Sports Arena or something, or Sports Direct Arena. St James's Park, 100 and odd years. He walks in and just changes the name. How ill-mannered was that? Is Jeff the Ref Winter going to Parky's event? No, he's not, Leslie. He's donating his ticket money to Parky because he's away on holiday. Stephen Barker says, top man, Bernie. God bless Parky, true Thornaby lad. Newcastle couldn't fill a China cabinet. It's no me saying it, I'm only reading it. Sunderland fans, you never go back. Do you think Borough will buy a defender in the transfer window, Bernie? Well, I'd like to think we get another defender. You know, where's the defender going to play? You're going to right or left back? Don't forget, there's a few players' contracts up at the end of the season. And one of them, Smith, the fullback, his contract's up, isn't it? Gels is up because he's in loan. Watmore's is up. There's a few contracts up. So, defender, possibly. I would still like to see another wide man. I don't think Foz is the answer on the right. No being disrespectful for him. He scored a fine goal on Saturday, but I don't think he's the one on the right. Jones, I think, might be sold in the window. Where is Eric Gates? Where is Eric Gates? Eric Gates, what do you mean, where is it? Eric Gatesy? No, Gatesey's not here, does. Yeah, so keep them coming in. Do you think, so Man City, that was, I think we'll get another couple of players for the deadline. We've obviously got a lad in Archer from Villa. As I say, the only thing about Archer, when I watched him, he reminded me a wee bit of, probably smaller than Barrigan we got for the Arsenal last year. I was a wee bit disappointed in his height. I know height's not everything, it's the size of your hat and how good you are. Gennaro was 5'0" and terrific, outstanding. Hold on, a couple here. I'm trying to get really into this YouTube as well. Hi Bernie, great idea for Parky. I'd be there. Any chance getting Gatesy on here for a chat? Would be great to hear from him. For Jack players. Well, Jack, yeah, look, down the line, I keep doing this, people get involved, especially if it's Sunderland and Newcastle, then I'll start getting Gatesy. I'll get Gatesy one night. I'll get a few players that play with Sunderland. Sadly, Newcastle will be in part with Man City in a few years as they own just by a billionaire, but by a country. Yes, it's not just a millionaire, it's a country. Money has ruined football for David Jackson. So David Jackson, I know where you're coming from, but I take it you're not a Newcastle fan. And Borough fans, Sunderland fans, would you welcome somebody from Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Saudi, whatever, the Emirates? Would you welcome them over the guys you've got in charge right this minute? Me personally, I wouldn't. Not over Steve Gibson. He's a local lad, self-made millionaire. Bernie, do you remember the Hartlepool fan? Bet the Hartlepool fan for Michael Dodds. Bet the Hartlepool fan, I definitely remember him. He was off his rocker, bet. He could, no, Gibbo, Borough fan. No, Steve Gibson's coming. Steve Gibson, the chairman of Middlesbrough's coming to the Parky-Do at the Town Hall on the 24th March. Tony Mowbray, the former captain who's now Sunderland manager, will be there at the Parky-Do. They're all coming in their droves. Chris McGlade's coming as a comedian, giving up his time. Gary Thompson's giving up his time. There's no expenditure, there's no cost. We're all doing it for free. The 86 lads are all coming back. Bruce Reich, Mugger, Steve Gibson. So it's going to be a great night. Let's see. You got good taste in music, mate. Yeah, well, obviously you can see that. These guys can't. Behind me, there's Morrissey, David Bowie, Aladdin Sane. Does Steve Gibson live in the North East? Leslie Coates, yeah, he does. What's that got to do with you? Well, why are you asking a question like that, Leslie? Huh? You're not going to get the balaclava on and go and find out where he is, are you? You're not going to rob his garage, are you? Only kidding, Leslie. No, he lives in the North East. Few of these, well, we're getting, keep them coming in. Hey, Bernie, this is for, is it Bernie? Is it Bernie, Ken? Hey, Bernie, any memories of playing for the mighty Sinners? What motivated you to keep playing? Why can Why can they do, or what can they do to get back home to Billingham? So memories of playing for Billingham. Well, I actually did play for Billingham St Thorn, and I finished playing professionally, and I was doing my radio duties, and there was a guy called Stuart Colby, who was the then Billingham St Thorn manager, and he used to go to Singapore. We were talking about Steve Gibson there. Steve Gibson arranged it, and Stuart Colby would go. I would go. A few of the ex-players like Viv Anderson, Pallister, John Henry. We'd all go over to Terry Cochrane and play five-a-side tournaments. Anyway, after the first year, Stuart Colby says, look, between your radio duties, would you like to play for Billingham St Thorn? And I agreed. Were you jealous of Joey Barton appearing in Morris's video, spent the day in bed video for David Jackson? Not really, David. Not really. I'm not really a fan of Joey Barton's. Yeah. Cornelius Carr, he was in the video. I know Cornelius well. Cornelius in the video with Morrissey, so he's told me loads of tales. If you listen to the, I do Total Podcast, Total BS every Monday. I interview different people. You can backtrack and listen to Cornelius Carr talking about his own career, how good, well, he was a very good boxer. And he's meeting the Morrissey and how he ended up in the backdrop when Morrissey was performing. Let's see. Keep them coming. Right, I'm going to read a few of these. I say it every week and I never read them, so. John O'Fiborough says, Bernie, Borough have 5 or more players out of contract in the summer. Would you keep any of them? Well, I mentioned earlier, the Smith, obviously there's Watmore, Howson, they're 3 regulars. So, and I still think that Carrick will let them go. I believe that. I don't know. This is only my gut. I think he'll have his eyes set in bigger fish. Coulson, Grant Hall, the centre back, Lumley. I thought he'd long run. So, yeah, so there's a few to go. Jim the Geordie fan says, Bernie, who was the best Newcastle players you played against or watched? Peter Beardsley would definitely be up there. Peter Beardsley, what a player he was. Chrissy Waddle, great winger. Was it Philip Albert? There was Keegan. Try to think. Alan Shearer, obviously. Oh, hey, look, Newcastle. Mark McDonald, and obviously Malcolm's a bit older than me. Well, he is older than me, of course he is. But Malcolm, I've seen clips of Malcolm. I was told how good he was, but by God, for Newcastle, they say the number 9s in Newcastle are amazing. Well, Malcolm was certainly amazing. If you look at clips of Malcolm on YouTube or whatever, he was unbelievably good. Tam the Borough fan says, any truth Borough are looking to sign Rotherham wide man Chidozie Ogbin? No, has been. Ogbin. I think he's a wide man, and by all accounts, there's a few clubs chasing him. So will we get him? Who knows? Lee Dennis, no doubt Newcastle fan, says Solano. Yeah. Was it Robert Solano? Is that who it was? He was a wide man. Very good player. Look, been some great players. I remember Gary Palmerston, my mate, was playing for Man United, and he said, do you want to come to the Newcastle game? It's at St James's Park. Newcastle got his tickets. I'm Pert Stimley, the travelling support. It's at St James's. I think Newcastle won. Was it 4 that day? Do you remember was it Schmeichel was in goal? I'm sure it was. Man United, a great team, when he dinked it over the keeper. Was it Albert? He lobbed it for about 25 yards, just chipped it, like using a 9-iron, went over the keeper. Speed was good at Newcastle. Yeah, well, Gary Speed. I agree with you about Roberts being a better goalkeeper than Stefan. Much better at commanding box, and he doesn't flap at corners. So David Jackson came back to talking about Roberts. So Roberts, I think his contract's up. I was talking about leaving the end of the season. Well, for me, he's better than Stefan. Oh, hold on. Excuse me. I need to get somebody to fix the YouTube because it's falling off its stack. That's what happens when you touch it. Engineer. The engineer's coming, don't panic. Yeah, I watched Man City tonight. I mentioned it earlier. But the goalkeeper, Stefan's on Man City's book, if you're not aware, who plays for Middlesbrough. He get this awful, nasty, repetitive habit of playing it middle of the goal, 18 yards out. And when he does it, it's bad. It's bad. Because we're Middlesbrough, we ain't Man City. And Man City get caught with their pants down the night. And they scored the goal. And I was thinking, dear God, no wonder that Stefan did it. But Stefan, for me, if he left Middlesbrough, I'll be honest, I wouldn't be too surprised. I wouldn't be shocked. I'll be honest. I'm no goalkeeping expert, but I wouldn't mind playing against him regular. He's always likely to drop a clanger, whether it's a chip over his head, because he's always coming off his line. And when he plays at central, 20 yards for his own goal, I don't see any benefits of that. Excuse me. Edward Lewis. Hi, Edward. What do you think the score will be on Saturday? I mentioned earlier, I think it'll be a draw. 1-1, 2-2. I think there'll be a goal or two, but I think it'll be a draw. Leslie says, what about Asprilla? Asprilla, I've got a photo of Asprilla in here signed. Tino Asprilla. He was a great player, wasn't he? He did the somersault and all that, didn't he? Yeah, he was exciting. Saul Bryn should be in goal for the Borough. There was something else I wanted to read that I missed. Speed was good. Yeah, Gary Speed, God rest him. Gary Speed was a great player for a number of clubs, including his national team Wales. Bernie, do you think MC is happy with the backroom staff? Michael Carrot at Borough. I think he is, but I don't think he will stop there. One or two more in. Borough boy and Borough fancies. Bernie, where's your cat? Bernie, where's your cat? Yeah, the cat's it's a bit cold in here tonight. Moved out. It's lying in front of the fire. Chris Gill says 5-0 that day. Bernie, I remember. Oh, was it 5, Chris? So, Chris, you're obviously a Newcastle fan. I was there. I thought it was 4-5. Wow. Unbelievable, isn't it? 5-0. It was a great game. I loved it. Best Newcastle player I've seen was Jim Smith in the 70s. Dennis Stewart. Dennis Stewart was the best Macklem. And what about your Middlesbrough player, David? So, best Newcastle player I've seen in the 70s was Dennis Stewart. Remember Dennis Stewart? I met Dennis Stewart, nice guy. Dennis Stewart was the best Macklem and Jim Smith in the 70s. What about, what was his name that played for Newcastle? Newcastle fans, help me, please. No, it was Tony Green. There was 3 guys that played for Albion Rovers, the unfashionable Albion Rovers. There was myself, Tony Green, and Jock Stein, who was a former Celtic manager who went on to win the first European Cup. I never knew that when I was playing for them. It was long after. So Jock Stein, who went on to Celtic fame, won the European Cup as manager. He was, I think he was a centre-half for Albion Rovers. Green, was it Tony Green? What was his name? What did I say his name was? Somebody Green. Tony Green, I'm sure it was. He was meant to be a great player for Newcastle. David Armstrong. As it says, David Armstrong. Spike Armstrong played for Middlesbrough, cut line caps. Great left foot. I've seen clips of him, but I knew David, God rest him. And he was an unassuming character, David. But nice with it. Dry humour. Hector, my favourite ever Borough player. Or Souness, that's what David Jackson. So Souness, Big John Hickton. Big John Hickton, I was first told when I came to Middlesbrough, John Hickton used to take penalties, he used to run for the halfway line. And then years later, I started doing interviews with players, managers and that, past and present. I interviewed John Hickton. I said, John, tell us about you're taking the penalty for the halfway line. He says, what a load of old crap. He says, if I ran for the halfway line, I'd be knackered the time I got there. I wouldn't be able to kick the ball off the spot. So that was a load of nonsense. But it sounded good. Steve Bell, great player. Steve Bell, if you don't know, Stephen Bell, I think I met Stephen, God rest him, once. He died at a tender age. I think he died of alcoholism. Played under Malcolm Allison before I came, a couple of years before I came. And by all accounts, he had everything going from, he was a winger, he was fast, he was tricky, he was tough, despite being built like that. He was on good money. Big Mal loved him, and they went off the rails like a lot of players and a lot of people in life do, and hit the drink and died the young man. So that was tragic. Saul Bryn should be in the goal for the Borough, Tony Wedley. So Saul Bryn, young goalkeeper, he came back last year and then they shipped him out again, and he should be in goal for the Borough, according to Tony. Well, at the minute I don't see Stefan's not here next year. He's not the future of Middlesbrough. He's not the future of Carrick. He's a Man City player. And me personally, I don't think he's any better than Roberts. And I've only seen Roberts a handful of games. As I say, if it was me, I'd rather put Roberts in at the minute and bring young Bryn back and let's see what he's got. Not my Borough fan for Chris Gill, so I was accusing him of being a Newcastle fan, and he's making sure I realise he's a Borough fan. Good to see Gibble is attending the night for Tony. Fourth Parky, what a night. Gibble, Rear Mugger, and all the 86 team supporting one of their own. Over 37 years since 86, back at the Town Hall. I can't wait. Yeah, I mean, looking at the Middlesbrough and the Town Hall, we had 2 separate receptions in my time there. 2 promotions. Promotion after the liquidation scenario. 3rd to 2nd, we had a separate reception, and then 2nd to 1st, the old 1st division equivalent in today's Premier League. And I remember getting 2 separate receptions. So the lads returning there, it'll bring back a bit of the memories. Yeah, I remember that it was like Beatlemania that day. Don't forget, we were ready out of business. Everybody had written us off. People didn't think Middlesbrough Football Club would survive, and we did. And it was just as well Middlesbrough had local lads in the main. I was classed as a foreigner. Archie Stephen for Liverpool, foreigner. Brian Laws, foreigner. But we made an incredible bond, and we could have all jumped ship because the football club had broken the contracts. They couldn't pay us. Anyway, we went there that day after the first promotion against Wigan at Elson Park, and there was thousands. It was like Beatlemania. I mean, you see the Beatles come off the plane at Heathrow or wherever it was, and they're everywhere. I mean, they were all on top of the roofs and all that. It was incredible. I thought the Beatles were behind us. I didn't believe they turned up for us. Great chance to consolidate a top 6 place in the league on Sunday. Last 12 games at the Stadium of Light. This is for Ian Plumpton. 1-5, drawn 4, lost only 3, Bernie. Okay, so great chance to consolidate a top 6 place in the league Sunday. Last 12 games at the Stadium of Light. 1-5, drawn 4, lost only 3, Bernie. Thanks for that information, Ian. Yeah. David Mills was a quality player for Glenn Ball. David Mills was the first $500,000 footballer. Big Ron Atkinson signed him at West Bromwich Albion. I mean, I probably hadn't heard of Middlesbrough back then, but yeah, I met Millsy. I know Millsy. He scouts now for Leicester City, and I think he was one of the guys responsible for Mahrez, who was fantastic tonight for Man City. I think he played a big part in his move. Plymouth was some away day, Bernie. Let's see. Plymouth was some away day, Bernie, back in the day. It was, and your mate Parley, best defender we've ever had. Fry is on a par now, mind with Mugger and Southgate. Fry is on a par with Parley. Give your head a shake. Away, man. Come on. Away. No, I'm a fan of Fry's, but is he Palliser now? He's no elegant or stylish like Parley was. No, because my mate. I mean, I'm a fan of Dale's. I think he's got some great qualities. If there was one that would maybe make the transition to the Premier, I'd probably say maybe Dale. I wouldn't say it right, definitely, because Parley and Mugger had a torturous time when we first went into the top flight. But obviously, Palliser proved he's worth when he went to Man United and won everything in the game. Hi, Bernie. Good evening, Jeffrey Wood. Hiya, Jeffrey. From Pally Belly. So, Belly, do you remember a little guy called Stan Cummins? Yeah. Who played for Borough? Yeah. Was he a Sunderland lad or Geordie lad? I met Stan. Small lad, but 5 foot nothing. I think he went to America. Stephen Bell lived next door to me in Palliser Park. What a talent for Tony. Didn't you know that, Tony? As I say, I met him once. Colin Frank says, hi, Bernard. Hi, I like getting called Bernard. The council paid your wages in 86. Didn't you collect from the town hall? Yeah, it did, Tony. Just showed you how the game's changed there. I first arrived in Middlesbrough my first season. It was my first season of full-time football. So I was trying to adapt and I'm thinking, hey, I've made it. This is great. Anyway, first season, relegated, liquidated, bankrupt. It'll be a tough game Sunday. I'm a Sunderland supporter. I've always liked Middlesbrough, great people. That's from, who's that from? I give him a bit of credit. If he does it. Cheers, Daz. Where am I? Yeah, the council. So what happened, as I said earlier, the contracts were broken. Every player contract meant nothing. And everyone else could have walked out the door, but we didn't. So we trained in local parks, washed our own gear. This is professional football, by the way. So my first season was a nightmare, as was all the lads. No money for a month or two, and then finally the PFA paid money into the town hall, and we had to go and sign a chitty every week or every month, whatever it was, put our name and get our money, which the PFA had transferred into the town hall. So professional club, my first season in England was an absolute nightmare. The next 3 years were brilliant. Third, second, first, relegating Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Loved every minute. I remember stopping Newcastle be getting promoted. When was that? 89, 90, 91, 92. Remember we used Newcastle fans when Matt McGee and Big Jimmy Quinn was up front, and you just had to beat us and get promotion into top flight, and there was 14,000 watching the game live at St James's. I remember chipping in to save the club. Well, you don't want your money back, are you? Yeah, we used to have buckets to save the club. Tony Wigblake, he was at the town hall for his wages when I'm at Petchy for a pork pie. That's for Leslie, I think there's a joke in somewhere. The council paid your wages in 86. No, I don't think it did. It was a PFA. The council, I doubt that the council would have given us wages. They hardly pay the people that work for them. Pally, good at football, garbage at golf. Glenn Ball. Well, I heard he's good now. He was garbage when we used to play. Ian Spick says, still get your autograph on a pack of Benson and Hedges smokes that you signed in the Madison back in 85. Dear goodness. Still a legend. Morning from Tasmania. Ian, Tasmania, devil, thanks. It may or not be a derby game, however, what is a derby game? The Borough at Sunderland fans have good friendly banter. Well, I hope it is friendly. I hope there's no nonsense and carry on in Sunday. It must be on the telly if it's on Sunday at 12 o'clock, so you've got a Benson Hedges with my signature for 85, dear God. Mohammed, hi Mohammed, hello Bernie. Hearing the Fulham players goes back, we may go for Ighalo, ex-Watford. Yeah, I've heard of him, I can't really pronounce his name. Do you think the best chance Borough will ever get to winning the FA Cup was the season we lost to Cardiff when Portsmouth went on to win the trophy? Poor Southgate really blew it, sadly. I think we've got in a lot of times, and especially, look, clubs like Middlesbrough, when I played, we treated it seriously. Didn't get very far. Furthest I got in the cup competition was the League Cup. We ended up in the semi-final, two-legged affair against Man United. 0-0 at Essen Park on a Wednesday night, and then we went the following Wednesday to Old Trafford, and we could beat in extra time. Ryan Giggs scored the winner. Sharp had scored for them, I'd scored for Borough, and then in extra time, and we had a younger team. They had Robson and Ince and Pallister and Bruce and Schmeichel. Bastall fancied us. I thought, we've got a younger team here. Bernie finally got a book package you signed for me. Cheers, mate. Yeah, so I never got fan cup competitions, but then I've watched Middlesbrough get to 3 or 4 cup competitions. And the one we won was the best day in Middlesbrough fans' history, and mine. Although I'm a Glasgow lad, that was the best day ever. I seen grown men cry that day lifting the Carling Cup. But since then, we've sort of mistreated the cups, and I don't get that, especially Middlesbrough. I get Man City doing it, and Arsenal and Chelsea and Liverpool, but not Middlesbrough. I think we need to try and get another trophy in that cabinet, and unfortunately this season is gone. But we're concentrating now on the league. But I don't buy into whether you're Newcastle, you get done in the FA Cup against Sheffield Wednesday, 2-0. Young Windass, Dean Windass' son scored 2, the great game, man of the match, and rightly so. But Newcastle, you must be gutted that you didn't progress in the FA Cup, which is arguably bigger than the League Cup, although you're in the semi of the League Cup and you could go on and win it. Carrick, big fan of Halo, whatever he is. Sorry, Mohammed, I can't really pronounce it. I'm probably saying it all wrong. Joe Pat says, don't think atmospheres will ever beat Holgate when you sing each player's songs, even today, Bernie. Yeah, Joe, the Holgate Inn, if you don't remember the Holgate Inn, you would run out the main tunnel and you would go look to the right and there was the Holgate. And irrespective of the attendance or who you were playing, that was always full. The smell of piss, woodbine, piss and woodbine and pies. That was the 3 smells you used to get as a player. You would smell the grass, especially if it was a bit of rain, and you'd smell the grass, and then you smell the piss and the pies and the Bovril. There was loads of things in the woodbine. There was loads of smells. I was intrigued to smell. Still am, like one of the hogs. No, the truffle pigs. Bernie, did you go to the Barrowland in Glasgow? Yeah, I did. Barrowland. I seen, who did I see in Barrowland? Seen Simple Minds there, Jim Kerr, Victoria Glen, lead singer. that night he was singing. They brought Bono from U2 on as his guest because they were pals. Yeah, I've had a couple of great nights in there. Oasis has played there. 1-1 Borough versus Sunderland, but something telling me we will score a winner in the last 10. Are you a clairvoyant? I'm going to read a few of these. Keep them coming. It's good. Sunderland fans, come on, I want to ask you, get involved in Newcastle Hartlepool. Come on. Bert, is there anybody know Bert? I can't remember his second name. He used to join the Legend Show. Oh, he used to come on every night. Bernie, Woodgate or Pally first on your team sheet? Well, it'd be Pally. No disrespect to Woody, I'm a Woody fan, and Woody was a fantastic player, but I know Pally ended up with injury problem, but Woody had them early doors. So Pally should probably rank more games, played more games, won more trophies because he was fitter more. So I'd probably go for the fittest out of the two. Remember the song, We've Got Willie Madron, Wigan in our goal? No, I don't, Glenn. I don't. Hi, Bernie. This is for, let's see who it's from. Hi, Bernie. Great to see Steve Gibson saying he's going to turn up for the party. How many billionaire foreign owners would turn up for a charity night for a player from the past? Great show, Bernie. Thanks, Jack. Yeah, Steve Gibson. Look, Steve Gibson is a down-to-earth man. There's no doubt he's a ruthless businessman, but I would regard him as somebody I've known him for many years. I've had verbal disagreements, but I've always respected him because what he's done for our club is nothing short of miraculous over the years during his tenure, and he's still in charge. And he's still a millionaire, he's not a billionaire. And he knows he's behind financially, but he's just got this fire in his belly that he still wants to succeed and he still wants to do it for his hometown. He's not getting carried away with the fame and fortune. And he came to the fore a while back, and I thought, that's not the Gibson I knew, but he sort of went back into the shadows and lets the managers or coaches go on it. But it was brilliant. He had a dry sense of humour. That's from a Sunderland fan. Do you remember the greatest hit? E-I-O, E-I-O. That was a lot of lyrics to that. The Borough fans sing E-I-O. Yeah, a lot of lyrics. Morrissey certainly didn't write that one. Can't see your belly button. Oh, sorry. Oh, it's all right. I took the ring out of it. I had a ring in it. Like an earring. You know what I mean? Belly button earring. Sorry about that. I don't want to offend anybody. I know probably I'll be getting banned off it because I've showed my belly button. Funny man, Bert. Yeah, I love listening to him. Yeah. So let us go back to these and then I'll come back. For my players, where are we? Bernie, best Newcastle players played against. Tim the Borough. Yeah, we mentioned that to Josie. Ray Newcastle fan. Oh, here's one. This is quite a good one. Ray Newcastle fan says, Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham are up for grabs. Can Newcastle tempt either to St James's into the city of Newcastle? Well, of course. How do you get Rice or Bellingham to be attracted to Newcastle? Well, you've got an airport that flies all around the world. The main one's Dubai, and then you can scatter. So that's important to modern day players who's got loads of money who like to go on holidays. You need a Champions League spot. And if you're in that, and you've got the airport, and you've got the capacity fans, and the odds are you're going to start winning I mean, I look at them. So Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice. Rice is 24. A couple hundred games for West Ham. Could have played for the Republic. He's opted for England. Good luck to him. Big Jack Charlton, that just shows you he was way ahead of his time, getting players that was related to Ireland but not quite Irish. So England's playing that game and have done for quite some time now, but nobody knocks it. They used to knock Big Jack. God rest him. Yeah, and he's what is Declan Rice got? He's 24 and he's got about 39 whatever caps. So he's done fantastically well. And then when you look at Jude Bellingham, 19 years of age, played with Birmingham. I only played about 40 odd games with I've got to say Birmingham. Borussia Dortmund, 100 games. Cap wise, 20 odd full England caps. Money talks, you're not kidding. So, yeah, I think Newcastle could attract him. Of course he could. Finish the Champions League, possibly win a trophy. Flash the cash. What more does the player want to be attracted to? As I say, an airport's important as well. Peter Sunderland fans says, Bernie, Middlesbrough fans will faint. So Peter the Sunderland fan, obviously a bit of sarcasm here. Let's see this one. What does this say? Sad Bins, Debenhams closed and Marks and Spencer's closing. Where would you drop Where would you drop your trousers now, Bernie? B&M, bargains. So he's obviously felt me show my backside many years ago against Man United. We won. I had a bet I would show my backside. I did it. I did it in Bin's window, but Bin's is closed down. The one on the road's shut down. Marks and Spencer's is closing down. The whole of Middles was closing down, which is really, really sad. And I sympathise with all those people losing their jobs. I mean, when I first came, it was a working class town, still is working class for those that's fortunate enough to have a job. But it's totally changed and transformed over the years. And the amount of things shutting down. There's more charity shops and bookmakers than shops. It's sad. It's sad. We can't hide for that. Marks and Spencer's. I mean, I used to do Debenhams. I used to do the books in there. 23 years there in the Metro. Closed at the Metro, closed in Middlesbrough. Where are we? Sort of lost my train of thought. So Peter Southern fan says, Bernie, Middlesbrough fans will faint on Sunday, running out in front of 40,000 fans. Well, Swansea never. Swansea never. They beat you 3-1. So we won't. Come on, we're flying high. 4 points ahead. Liam the Geordie boy said Newcastle will be getting fleeced as everyone knows they're in the elite group financially. Well, I think that's a fair saying. I don't think you're kidding there. Where are we here? Funny man, but love listening to him. Yeah, Tony Smith says, what happened to that charity match Michael Beck was going to organise a couple of years ago? What happened now? COVID is out off the way. Nah, Tony. I think this was, we used to walk, we were walking, me and my mates. We're walking through the pandemic. Legally or illegally, rightly or wrongly. That's what we had to do for our mental state. And we did it. We kept our distance and all that crap. And it was crap, especially when they were having parties and drinky poos in the rooms while we were all cabining up with each other and not allowed to talk to anybody or meet anybody. So that was a lot of bollocks. But anyway, yeah, when we were walking during the pandemic, we were saying, that'll never happen. Once COVID's over, everybody will forget about it. You're the first guy to ever mention it, Tony. It won't happen. I don't think it was ever sanctioned with the football club, so Michael Beck's intentions were good. I'm not knocking Michael. I know Michael, he's a nice guy. His intentions were good, but I never seen it that the club had sanctioned it or said they were going to do it. Glenn Ball says, we've got Willie Madron, Wigan in a goal. Willie Wigan in a goal. Surely someone remembers that. Glenn, I just wish it was a phone and you could sing it to us. I get, what was the tune? There must have been, I'm reading it, but I don't know what tune it's to. Con says, Rice been linked to Arsenal and Bellingham to Liverpool. I know that, Con, but why would you pick, okay, Arsenal, Liverpool, Newcastle at the minute. We all know Newcastle have got billions and billions to burn in the coming seasons. We know it's a matter of time before they're going to have trophies in the cabinet. We know that they're going to get some of the biggest names in world football. That's inevitable. It's going to happen. Arsenal are doing brilliant. Do you know what? I still don't think Arsenal won the league. Before tonight's game, I was with my mate Tony and we were watching the game at night, and I said before the game, I still think Man City will win it. And 2-0 done, we were discussing, will they pull it back? People were questioning Pep as he lost the plot. He's made X amount of changes. All the big guns on the bench. Well, he got it right, didn't he? I still think Arsenal, I'd rather Man City win it than Arsenal. Right, I'm going to read more of these. Keep them coming in. Keep it going. Sunderland fans, come on. Tell us, what are you going to do on Saturday? Or Sunday, rather. Sunday morning. Will you be woke up by 12 o'clock? Will you Sunderland fans be woken up at 7? At 12, rather. And how big a game is it? I mean, I remember fancy Newcastle to win the League Cup. Does a fancy Newcastle to win the League Cup. Well, why not? They're almost there, semi-finals, bit of luck and fortune, and that's a fair old trophy. I mean, what was the last trophy Newcastle United won? I'm not being sarcastic. Was it the first cup? I'm just asking. I'm not talking about a championship title. I'm talking about a cup. Was it? And what was that other 2-bob one you won? Can't remember the name of that. 10 minutes? 5 minutes? Okay. Yeah. And Sunderland, when was the last cup you won? Middlesbrough, I don't need to ask you because we won the League Cup in 2004. They beat Bolton Wanderers. And then Robbo had 3 bites to try and win it. Remember Leicester? Oh man, talking about cups. I remember sitting in the gantry with the late great Ali Brownlee. We're winning 1-0 was it? At Wembley. Minutes taken away. And then was it Emil Heskey scored. Equalised. Whistle went. Replay. And Martin O'Neill was the manager. Former Notts Forest European Cup winner, Celtic manager, Republic manager. He got a lad called Kamak Janino out the game in the replay, and they beat us. It's only a derby if Sunderland and Newcastle beat us. So I don't get this Newcastle. We're all living North Yorkshire. I would class Hartlepool as a derby, Darlington, Sunderland and Newcastle and Leeds. But when you talk to Sunderland fans, they say, oh no, Newcastle's a derby, Borough's not a derby. But what is it then? And I'll tell you what, as a former Borough player, I loved playing against Newcastle and Sunderland. I treated both the same respect. Sunderland FA Cup 1973, Mickey Hospital, flying in, hold on. Do you think Borough will limit transfer signings with one eye on promotion, as we'll need better quality players to go up? First cup was not a proper cup, as you had to be invited to take part. Newcastle last proper trophy was in the 50s. Newcastle fans getting a bit of a batter there for David. No, the first cup was a big cup. Hey, my old mate Gatesy won the UEFA Cup, didn't he? With Ipswich Town. I've got a picture somewhere in here. I might show you next Thursday. Show you some of my pictures for the North East. I mean, the ones behind me. Stan Anderson, there's Bob Minker. There's the Newcastle team that won that first cup. Malcolm McDonald. Some lad Slaven NE. There's Bobby Kerr with the FA Cup. Right, so where were we? We're going to read these. I say, do you know what? If I get 2 on here, fine. I'm going to read all these. Terry Sunderland fan says, Sunderland have to bounce back after last week's 3-1 defeat at home to Swansea. Can't afford any sending off. So I mentioned that earlier, Tony. Can't afford any sending off because we've all trounchies. June, Sunderland fan, says, Sunderland flying the flag for the North East. What? In the FA Cup. Borough hammered by Brighton. Can't defend indefensible. Newcastle done by Sheffield Wednesday. And Hartlepool out. Well, I suppose you're right there. Can't argue with you, June. Francis says, a Newcastle fan, Newcastle linked with Leicester England player James Maddison. What do you think? Maddison, big fan of Maddison's. Loaded with ability. Score for free kicks. Can create, score. He's good in the eye. He's a charismatic figure when he's in front of the camera. What would he cost? I think some 40 million or something. Wonder if Newcastle will win the League Cup. You can call it Mickey Mouse Cup. That's a fair point there, Borough boy. Yeah, when Borough won it in 2004, the Newcastle fans back then, I was on the radio, the one I used to do with Malcolm and Mickey, and I'm the one leg end, and it used to be the 3. They used to take the piss at us and say it was a Mickey Mouse Kid On Cup. No, well, let's see how Kid On it is if you won it. What was the reason, Bernie, you wore number 7 shirt, not number 10? Joe Parker. Sunderland finished Borough 2-0 Toon fan. Newcastle won China Vaz. Neither Sunderland Newcastle can ever win the North Riding Cup. Borough's won loads of times. Newcastle are a Mickey Mouse club. By God, they're getting a bit serious and nasty now, aren't they? Where are we? Newcastle linked with Leicester. Yeah, James Maddison, 18 months left in his contract. They reckon about 40 million would cost. I'm a big fan of his. They say he's a wee bit like a Grealish, a bit of attitude about him. He's got the swagger. I like that, but it's a likeable swagger. You know, some people get a swagger and you just think, you're a tit. But he's got it. Grealish has got it. Called personality and charm and charisma, panache. And I think the 2 boys have got it, but he's got it. And he's a very good player. Jimmy for Newcastle says, Crystal Palace away for us on Saturday. I watched them grab a point last night against Man United. Difficult game. Yeah, was to say I watched it. Yeah, and was it for Fernandes obviously scored for Man United. And then in the 91st, was it 91st minute? Yeah, they scored. They scored for the free kick. It was a wonder free kick, I have to say. But Newcastle up 4th in the table. Palace are 12th. There's I think it's something like a 15-point gap. So Newcastle go there fearless. They're doing very well. 2-1 Borough Sunday. Akpom both goals. Damien Plumpton, no messing. That would give Akpom 15 league goals. He'd have to get 60 for Marcel, which was 21 league goals. That'd be a record. That was the last time it was broken. Good luck to Akpom. As I say, I have been in touch with Akpom privately, and I wasn't looking for a return message, but he did. A private conversation, but I wish the kid all the best, or the lad all the best. He's a couple of years where he didn't do it. I was on his case along with a lot of people. Three whatever million he cost. And then he's come back from Turkey or wherever he's been, and he's been very, very good this season. Deserves the plaudits, deserves the goals. Paul Sunderland fan says, can't wait to see the Sunderland vs Borough game on Sunday. Good to see Captain Corey Evans saying the lads are ready. Well, dear God, if they're not ready, come on. Where are we? Right, again. What was your favourite derby, Borough vs Sunderland or Newcastle? So what was my favourite derby? Was it Borough vs Sunderland or Newcastle? Borough, Brian, the Borough fan. It was in 1976, Newcastle got beat off Man City. It was 70, Sunderland was 73. When was the Newcastle, when did they win the first cup? Was it 69? 69. 1969, in case somebody's getting the wrong idea. 1969. So Sunderland, Newcastle. No, I respected both derbies. I knew the meaning, how much it meant to the guy in the street. We'd go to his work on a Monday morning with a swagger, saying we beat the local rivals, the enemy, whatever you want to call it. And I totally get that. And I went out with that intention to try and beat the opposition. And I was fortunate. If I played 10 derby games, probably won about 6 or 7 of them and scored 9 or 10 goals. So I was more than happy with my contribution. Who Evans never heard. Yeah, so derby games meant everything to me. As I say, I'm from Glasgow, Celtic Rangers. Historically, even now, the fan base of both clubs is unbelievable. The passion is unbelievable. The hatred is unbelievable. The bigotry is still rife and unbelievable. So it's got a mixture of everything. And if you're a football fan and you want to sample atmospheres, try and get a ticket or jump the gates at Parkhead or Ibrox and go nick in and see what the atmosphere's like. Dirty Den, I like that name, Dirty Den. It could have been Dirty Den for Durham, but does it say Durham? Dirty Den says, did you once play in a charity game with Peter Beardsley? I did. I played with Peter and Stephen Pears, former Borough goalkeeper, who's coming to 86 now, for Parky at the Town Hall, 24th of March. I played in Pears' testimonial. Have you spoken to Tony Mowbray? Yeah, Tony Mowbray's coming. But I've not spoken to him this week because obviously you get too much in his mind. John Loon says, have a day off, John. He's not replying. What do you mean not replying? I've replied to John, innit? What I say? John, apologies if I've not read yours. John Loon, have a day off. John, he's not replying. Are you referring to me? If you could name a living... Oh, right. No, that's Dean. If you could name a living for Sunday, what would it be? Me. Running out of time, but probably same team. Why change the team? We won last Saturday. The team's done brilliant since Carrick came in, and that's one of the reasons we've been in such fine form. He's went 4 at the back, settled side, and bit of continuity and belief and confidence, and it's got us into what, 3rd, 4th in the league. Yeah, so Peter Beardsley, I played in Stephen Pears' testimonial, and that night Peter Beardsley spoon-fed me. Now there's a goalkeeper, Pears. Yeah, Stephen Pears. Harry for Hartlepool says, do you think Hartlepool can keep its league status, Bernie? Well, at the minute, what are they? Second bottom. There's about 20 games left, and they're 2 above rock bottom Gillingham. There's enough games to turn it around, but they need to get a bit of stability, and Keith Kills certainly got a job in his hands. He really has. My old mate Lenny Lawrence, and I say that not sarcastically. I'm not saying he's an out-and-out mate, but I'm fine with Lenny now. So who would you not change the centre forward? Let's see what this says. So you would not change the centre forward. Well, centre forwards at the minute at Middlesbrough is Crooks and Ashbomb. Crooks for me is not an out-and-out centre forward. Still finds it difficult at times when he's back to defenders in the opposing goal. But he scored a couple at Birmingham, did very well. I still think he's better on the right. Has he got the pace? No. Does he have good engines and stamina? Yeah. Box to box, yeah. Well, he got a few goals, definitely. He was top scorer 2 years ago. So, but it beat Sunderland 3-0. Dear goodness, Daniel Jones, no messing about, Daniel. Right in there. 3-0, as easy as that. Turn up. 3 goals. See you later. I noticed Borough Chairman Steve Gibson attending the party night. Brilliant. Yeah, somebody's praised Steve Gibson. Look, everybody deserves praise. Steve Gibson, obviously, but everybody, all that 86 feet. Gary Hamilton was my guest in the Legends Lounge. I hosted the Legends Lounge on Saturday at the Riverside. Gary Hamilton's over for America. He's been in touch. Do you want me to be? I said, brilliant. I'd love you to be my guest, Hammy. I'm a Hammy fan, 86 fan, that team. He comes in. He said, I'm flying back. I think it was Wednesday. I've actually did a bit of my podcast in Monday, part 1, Gary Hamilton. Sunday's a big game. Surely you put out your best team, even if you change things. Oh, well, who is your best team, Jeffrey? Yeah, so Hammy had flown back to America on, I think it was yesterday, and he's going to fly back. I'm led to believe, he told me he is, and I've no need to doubt him. He's going to make an effort and fly back in a couple of months' time for Gary Parkinson's night. How good is that? Says everything about Hamilton, doesn't it? Or Hammy. Incredible. So if Hammy can make the trip to America to the town hall in Middlesbrough to support Parky for a charity night for a guy who needs 24-hour care, who's paralysed, who can only communicate through his eyes, surely you, if you're a Borough fan or a charitable fan, will turn up in the night. I'm confident it'll sell out. So in the past, several years, or more than several years ago, up the Borough Bernie, good night, great talk, and bring back the legends. Several years ago, me and my missus arranged a night at the Tall Trees when the Tall Trees was going. It's now a building site, it's new houses, and there was 1,100 people there. The 86 lads all came back. Then we did another night down here. It was only a small one a couple of years ago, 200 people. Then we had one in the heart of Middlesbrough, 500 people. This one's going to hold 840 odd, and I'm sure everybody will be there. A new centre forward from Aston Villa. Oh, sorry. Starts for me and Crooks goes on the right. Jeffrey Wood. Yeah, sorry, Jeffrey. Again, I'm trying to concentrate on juggle everything. Yeah, you're right. I would do that. I would put Crooks on the right because, as I say, I don't think Foz scored a great goal on Saturday, but first half he was poor. He's not a right-sided player, so I wouldn't put him there. Jones would probably move on. I would put Crooks there and put Archer, who's came from Villa, on loan, up front with Ashbomb, and let them roll. Let's see how it goes. The guy's not coming to Villa. He could have joined Preston where he scored, 7 and 20. He's not coming here to sit on the bench, is he? Need to keep this Ross Stewart quiet this Sunday. And another player, I can't remember his name, will be up against Giles, who's not so good at defending. But Colin, what I was saying earlier is, I agree Foz is poor. I'm not saying he's poor, but he's out of position. He did not get comfortable on the right. And Saturday, 5 balls in succession. 3 were bad balls and 2, his touch deserted him. And the thing that I'm annoyed with more about Foz, I don't know how good his English is, but if somebody gives you a bad ball 3 times in succession, you give them an ear bashing and a pointing and get mad and let them know you're not happy with the service you're getting. But he didn't do that. It was just an acceptance. Sorry here about Gary Parkinson from Sunderland supporter. Thanks. Parky, since 2010 he's been struggling, and he's got a great family around about him, but he needs 24-hour care, which takes a lot of money. These days, money's tight for everybody and everything. I totally get that. But we as a group of players, former players, for that 86 period, we know and we want to look after one of our own, and we're trying to do that along with you, the fans. We can't. It's okay us turning up, but the people have to turn up to raise money. And we're looking to raise a boatload of money for Parky, 24-hour care. There's enough stage with him overnight. When he laughs, he the first time I'd met him after he had this do many years ago, the first time I went in with my late father, my father was adamant, he was bad way as well. He was saying, I want to see Parky, because he knew Parky and he knew Parky's dad, Parky's late dad. So my dad was adamant he wanted to see Parky. And I remember Parky, I didn't really want to get in and see the cities and didn't know what I was going to face. I remember walking in, Paddy was dressed smartly, looked the same, but obviously he was in a chair, and my father, just being my daddy, big personality, he just started cracking a joke and using a few C words that they use in Glasgow, and Packy started laughing, and that made me relax. But when he was laughing, he clogged up with phlegm, and I was panicking. I'm inside, I'm panicking. I'm not looking at him. I'm thinking, dear God, he's choking, and then the nurse came out and cleared his throat, and then he was okay. So Packy can laugh. He loves to laugh. He's coherent. He's all with it. He looks good. His wife dresses him well. But come on. So, do you think Hartlepool keep the status? Benny, I mentioned that, didn't I? 20 games, Buddy Barmy announced by chairman yet. As an ardent Newcastle fan, I'm missing. Oh yeah, Frank Newcastle fan says, as an ardent Newcastle United fan, I'm missing Mike Ashley. Have you got a website so we can donate some money? Let's see. Look, my mate was up tonight, and we're going to set up one of these, look, technology. I know how to work some of it. I got a lot of help with others. We're going to put a donation thing in. So there's loads of people at the game on Saturday in the lounge, can't make it for whatever reason, but we'd love to donate money. But we will be Just Giving. There'll be a page, Just Giving, going up either tomorrow on Monday. I think it's going to be tomorrow. So just keep your eyes open for that. We are trying every avenue to get money for Gary Parkinson for his 24-hour care. And don't forget Packy, young, vibrant. I mean, Packy's what, 55? 55. He's had this in 2010. I say, if you're religious in any way, shape or form, irrespective of who your God is, please say a prayer for Gary Parkinson and his family. I mean, his family went through the mill. Family have been ultra supportive. Great family, good living family. Packy's a great human being. And we just want the best for him. And this is where we're trying to do it. I've seen your video, Bob the Butterfly. We'll finish with this because I think I've overshot the runway. Time is on for 10, yeah. There's another one, but we read that on Sunday. Butter Brian says, what was your favourite derby? No, I've answered that. No, that's it. We've done enough. So listen, thanks very much for joining us. Newcastle fans, Sunderland fans, I've only been doing this on my third Thursday. I'm doing it every Thursday for now at the end of the season. Hope to get a bit of banter going, and if I get Newcastle and Sunderland fans on in their droves, I might invite Gates or who knows, even Mark McDonald might come in and have a wee chat and a bit of laugh and a bit of winding up like the old days. Cheers, Bernie, great stuff. Cheers, Butterfan. So on Sunday I'll be, say 5 o'clock, it's 12 o'clock, 5 o'clock I'll be doing Facebook Live. This is for Middlesbrough fans only. Well, no, only you can join us if you want, but Middlesbrough, concentrating Middlesbrough after every Borough game this season. I'll be on at 5 discussing the derby game. Then on Monday I've got Total BS. It's my weekly podcast and my interview this week. I've always got interviews, comedians, guys that sing, whatever, footballers, managers. This week it's Gary Hamilton, who I said was over. He's back in America now. Gary Hamilton part 1 will be on. And then I'm hoping to do Andy Campbell next week, so he'll be coming up as well. So yeah, and then on the Thursday I'll be back doing the North East Live with the one leg end. No, let's we up the other ones. Who's that? Ethan says up the Borough. So listen, thanks very much to everybody, whether you're a Sunderland fan, Newcastle, Hartlepool, Darlington, Borough. Thanks very much for joining us. Have a good night and have a good weekend. And Derby fans, keep your cool Sunday. Enjoy the game.